Welcome, all of you. I really appreciate you being here. I do not know. Oh, Galaxy A715G must be Nicole. Hi,
So what's the number?
it's the other Nicole.
Oh,
Yes. So she just popped up. Okay, let me hit a few things before we get started. One is unplugged. Andrea, I assume we're not doing unplugged tomorrow morning since it's Labor Day. Am I correct? Andrea is on here, but she's not hearing me. I don't know. But we will still power hour.
No, I'm here. I was trying to fix my link on my group. I could hear everything you were saying. I'll cancel Power Hour.
Okay, no power hour tomorrow because it's
power
Labor
hour.
Day. But let me
Yes.
tell you, this is such a valuable tool. I use it every time I get a chance. I'm on Power Hour because it keeps me moving. It is something the beginning of the week I get with other people and it's motivating every single time. So you never get past needing to be motivated. But not tomorrow. We'll do it next week. Also, next Sunday night is our unplugged. It will not be this number. I will leave it to Jamie to post the correct number. So she will take care of that for us, and we will have the unplugged, and it is 9/11. So we're going to do it on trauma. We're going to talk about trauma next week. The Reconnect event is October 15th. How many of you have known that, have done something with that? I mean, some of you can't be here. I understand. Cindy, yes, I see you. Some of you can't be. I get that, but at least tell your friends and people about it because it's a cheap way to get, a really cheap way to get training. So people can get trained in health and wellness and business. And so that's something that we try to keep it in our economy for today. So, because people are having trouble with the economy, but this is $35 or $25 online so that people can be part of it. So encourage your members, your friends, anyone to join us. We have room for 250 and I think we have close to 100 now, but I've opened it up to other groups. It's just nobody really knows about it. So we're going to be encouraging people. Okay, on that post that I messed up, I asked about sciatica. And I have had lots of people talk about the sciatic issues and give information. And because of that, we've gotten training. But on here, I'm going to tell you what I learned this week because I have trouble with that fairly often. It's not constant, but I do have to go to the chiropractor fairly often because of that one issue. And I've used Valor on my foot. I've done all the stuff that I know to do. But this week, one of the diamonds from way back there, and I don't even know which one it is, somebody else posted that, and I don't remember who it was, posted about this diamond, one of the original diamonds years ago, that the two things that always, she's never seen it fail to work. It works every single time for that, is cistus layered with peppermint on top of it.
Can you just talk about something nonsensical while people are still trying to get on here? I have people messaging me consistently trying to get on, so they're kind of screwed.
yeah, me too.
I need you to pause what you're talking about and just let people have a chance to.
Okay, let's stop the recording and we will start it over. How's that?
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa.
Okay. For those of you that weren't on here, I will tell you that the sciatic issue that I talked about, so many people have given information on green diamonds, and I would never negate any of it because we're all different and different things work for different people. But the one that I was told about this week was cistus, which is Rose of Sharon if you have the Oils of Ancient Scripture kit. So it's cistus layered with peppermint. And this person said she's never seen it fail to help with sciatica. So I immediately got my old EODR and I wrote that down in the back of it because I have trouble with that myself. And I've tried so many things. And so that's just one more thing in the arsenal. I will not negate anything anybody put because we are different and other things may help you more than this one. But this is something you need to remember because this woman's been in Young Living longer than any of us. And she has not seen anyone that failed to get help from this. So that's a good thing. Okay, so we are recording and we are still talking about Atomic Habits. Wave at me if you've read chapter 1 and 2. Okay, so we're just going to share with you some good stuff. Since you haven't read it, then we've read it for you a few times actually. So what we're going to start with is we're on chapter 2. Last week we talked about chapter 1, but chapter 2 is really good. It talks about 3 levels of change that everybody has. If you want to change, there's 3 levels. The first one is outcome. The second one is process, and the third one is identity. So let's look at them. Outcome means changing the results. If you change something in your life, it's because you want to see different results. So if you change your eating, then you want to see, results in your health or your weight. So it's the results. Process is the second one, and that is changing your habits. So that is just making a whole different switch. And the third one is the deeper level. So he drew it in circles. So there's a big circle and it's outcome. A smaller one inside is process. And the one in the center is the main one, and it's identity. Identity actually changes our beliefs. So outcome is what you get. Process is what you do. Identity is what you believe. So I want to tell you my story. When I read this, I thought, oh, that's exactly who I was building this business. Exactly. So in the beginning, I started building Young Living in 2008. I've been in Young Living since 2001. But in 2008, I knew that David was going to retire and I needed extra income. So I wanted results. What were the results that I wanted? I wanted money. I wanted more money because he was retiring and it was going to take away 40% of our income, 30 or 40, I don't know. And so my desire right then and my change was actually that instead of giving oils away to everybody I knew or selling them cheaply so that I could raise my essential reward points so I could get free products, instead of doing that, my change was to actually do this as a business. I didn't know what that meant. I'd never had a business. So the change was to get results. I called Deborah Raver, or Deborah Starkey now, and I said, I want to build Young Living as a business. And I did that because I wanted results. I wanted extra money. That's what most people do. The second thing is process. So I did for a year what I decided to do, and I had a total of 16 members at the end of 12 months working. 16. That's total a year later. And I thought, okay, this isn't working very fast. This is really hard. And then Dana and I went to a training that Marcella Von Harding spoke at, and I've told you about it before. And she taught me something that day that was amazing. And it was the thing that Sarah Harnish calls rinse and repeat. Marcella Von Harding stood up there and she said, okay, this is a very, very, very simple business to build. There's nothing easy about it, but it's simple. You teach people about the products and enroll them, and you train them to love them. And then you teach them to teach people, other people. So it's rinse and repeat. You just teach people about the products and enroll them. You train them the value of the products, and then you share with them how they can do that with other people. You duplicate yourself. She said, that is all you have to do. You just never quit. And if you never quit, Young Living has a lot of money on the table. But most people quit. Most people quit at silver because they're making a little bit of money and they're doing pretty good. And so they're okay. So she said a lot of people quit at gold because they're making $4,000 or $5,000 a month and they're happy. And I'm thinking, well, who wouldn't be happy with $4,000 or $5,000 extra a month? And then she said, but some people just never quit and they make it to the top and there is all this money on the table. She said, it's just they quit. And so she said, but all you have to do is just enroll people, train them to love the products, and teach them to enroll people and train and love the products. And they just keep doing, you just keep multiplying and duplicating. And so I went home and I thought, okay, I can do this. I mean, for that full year, all I did was try to enroll people because we had this enrollment bonus. And if I enrolled people, then I knew I was going to get a check. So now I realize that if I taught them to enroll people, and if I started duplicating myself, then that was going to be much more profitable. So that's the process. I changed my habits. The first time I wanted results. And so I changed I'm just going to do it. The second thing I did was a year later, I changed my habits. I quit just doing it all myself because I was enrolling everybody myself and I was training everybody myself, my few people, but there weren't many enrolled, but I was having classes constantly and I was doing it all. And then I was taught that I duplicate myself. I don't have to do it all. If I train other people to do the same thing, I don't need to do it all. The third thing was the hard one. Identity, changing your beliefs. So I was convinced in 2009, after I heard Vaughn speak and I changed my habits, I was convinced I was making it all the way to the top in Young Living. Never questioned, because all I have to do is simple, is teach people and then duplicate myself. So I was convinced that I would make it all the way to the top. I mean, I'd never entered my mind I wouldn't. And then I was at convention. I don't remember if it was 2013 or 2014. I think it was 2013. I was at convention and I was sitting by myself for some reason, and Gary was speaking at a workshop. And he was talking about our DNA. And he was talking about addictions. And he had all this information on DNA. And he said, if your great-great-grandmother had trouble with alcoholism, then it's in your DNA. And so you have to break that DNA, and essential oils can do that. But you have to change your mindset. You have to start speaking differently. He said, if your great-grandparents were addicted to gambling, then that's in your DNA. If there was something there that controlled them, then it's in your DNA. And so you have to break it, and you have to break it. He said, you can use oils, but you have to break it with your own mindset and your own words. And I sat there in that auditorium and I just had tears running down my eyes because I realized I don't have trouble with addiction, with alcohol. What I had trouble with was poverty, because I had the spirit of lack, that there's never enough. Because my great grandparents were dirt poor. My grandparents on my dad's side of the family came to Texas from Oklahoma with 7 kids in a covered wagon and lived in a tent for almost a year. My maternal grandparents had nothing all of their life. My mom and dad never owned a house. They died and had never owned a house. My dad made really good money. He was smart, and he made good money, and he just played it away every time he got a check. If it was hunting season, if it was deer season or fishing season or whatever it was, or gambling, that check was for fun. So they never owned a house. They lived payday to payday. So I got to looking at all of my family, and this is what's everywhere. It's poverty, not poverty where you're starving, poverty where there's never enough. And so I sat there that day thinking, oh my word. I mean, it went through my mind. I have never once questioned that I'm going to make it all the way to the top in Young Living. But I always have in the back of my mind, there won't be much money there when I get there. I'll never make the kind of money that these people make. I'll never have any money. Nobody in my family ever had any money. Why should I have any money? I'm not going to make it. When I'm going to get to the top and they're going to go bankrupt, or, the comp plan's going to change. There was any excuse, but in my mind, I would never make much money. Does that make sense? That day, I decided to change. I got home and I told David all about it. And then I called Dana. I said, we got to change the way we're talking. This is what I saw. It's in our DNA. So we have to change it. Now, legally, I cannot tell you, because this is being recorded. Legally, according to the Federal Trade Commission, I can't tell you what my checks are. But I can tell you that over the last 2 years, they've dropped $20,000 a month, and it hasn't hurt us. So I want you to know it broke in me. My beliefs changed. And when they changed within 1 year, I was making more money than my husband had made in a year. In 1 month, I was making, no, I'm sorry, in 3 months, I was making more money than he made in a year. So this is what beliefs do. We have to change not just what we're going to do. Some of you have just decided, okay, now it's time for me. I want to build this as a business. That's the first move. Then you have to change what you're doing to do that. Why are people not showing up? Why am I not successful? Is it because you haven't changed your habits? Because you're not doing the systems we talked about last week? You're not actually doing the stuff, showing up for everything? If those two are not it, is it because you don't really believe you're going to ever be successful anyway?
Some of you aren't muted. Can you mute yourself, please?
Okay, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to let y'all talk a little bit. Has this triggered anything in anybody? Is mindset an issue that you have?
Can you please mute everyone and then we can unmute ourselves?
Okay. Everybody's muted. Can you hear me? Okay. If you have something you want to share now, unmute yourself. Dana, you and I talked about it. I know you do.
What do you know?
That you have some stuff to share about mindset. We've been talking
I
about this
think
for 2 days.
I think everything in Young Living has to do with mindset. Someone recently, I've had this happen so many times. And so this is where I'll get a little bit ragey. So many people have told me that they just really can't do it because they've got kids and they need to focus on their kids, which is kind of a slap in the face to everyone else who has kids. Like their kids are superior to ours. Also, my husband, I told him about that the other day, and my husband said, well, they don't say that about their man, that like if he didn't go to work, they would think he was an ass, right? But anyway, there's just the fact is, it has nothing to do with your kids. It has to do with your mindset. You don't want to do it, so you're using your kids as an excuse. I have a lot of children, and I'm not looking for pity for that. That was my own choice. But they certainly aren't my excuse for why I can't do stuff. So if you're, whatever the mindset is, if it's because you don't have enough time, if it's because you have kids, if it's because your partner isn't completely supportive, these are, I mean, I could go on and on and on. These are not actual issues. These are mindset and boundaries. You have poor boundaries and you have poor mindset. And so if you don't want to do it, just say you don't want to do it. But if it's not working, it's because you haven't been consistent. It's not because the system doesn't work, because I've proved the system works. So it's you, it's not the system. You just have to do the system, and you do have to rinse and repeat. And Marcella Von Harding, who Mom mentioned earlier, she was one of the very first diamonds ever in Young Living. She's best friends with Mary and has been way before Young Living was founded. She talks so much about how it's a contact sport. The problem is we want to do this without having contact with people. We want to do this and say that people didn't show up, or that it just didn't, you know what? They didn't want my products. Nobody showed up when I had a class. Okay, y'all. I've had way more no-shows than shows in my whole life. Way more. But I didn't quit. And so it is 100% a mindset. I've been listening to Atomic Habits, and I've changed my language on things that have changed my mindset, not work related. But I actually work out almost every day now. So I'm kind of worky outy, and I never thought I was before. But because of Atomic Habits, I walk my stairs every day. Because of Atomic Habits, I am becoming a minimalist. I'm not a dirty person or an unorganized person who's getting things cleaned up. My whole mindset has changed. So I am these things because I'm doing these things. I am a young living business person because I'm doing it, not because I'm trying. People have told me so many times that they tried it. Well, I've tried a lot of things that didn't work because I was just trying, I wasn't doing. And so there's a difference in trying and doing. Trying is trying. Doing is just trying on repeat. I guess that's all I've got.
Anyone else?
Yes, I want to say, kind of along with what Dana is saying, but a little bit different vein, is that I think I'll just talk for myself because I think there's others that would relate to this. That because what we have seen over these last years are social media people get really big, really fast. Well, I think we finally learned to quit comparing ourselves to them and they're going to go faster. But in the last couple of weeks, I kind of just went, why am I doing social media? I'm not consistent. All the things that you need, I'm not consistent. It is not my personality. I don't want to be that out there. Why don't we look at where we are successful? Like, are you a one-on-one person like me? Yes, that might take us a little bit longer, but that's okay. Because once you make relationship, people love you, you love them. They love the product, they trust you. And so you build that way. And yes, it's a little bit slower, or maybe even a lot slower for some of us, but I feel like I spend so much time over the past 2 years doing social media and then bummed that it doesn't pay off, but I'm not consistent. And again, even if I was, it takes years to pay off. So if I'm looking at an atomic habit and I'm saying I'm a one-on-one person, I like myself, I'm going to continue that because I'm seeing my identity. And so that's kind of what I'm wanting. Let's look at who we individually are instead of what is the big overall. And that way we're not driving ourselves crazy. The reason we're all falling in love with Leslie and some of these other leaders is that they are speaking about working out of rest. And this is a long haul.
I'm going to follow what you're saying, Nicole, and say that when we started, when you started, we didn't have social media.
That's right.
So we didn't have anyone to compare ourselves to. We also didn't have anyone to follow. So we just got on our bike, scraped up our knees, banged up our heads, and got back on.
Exactly. And the books was the book, Rick Burke's book, I guess. There's like, how do you a MS takes 5 to 7 years. And so if we're thinking in our head, this is 7 years. I mean, when I first started, I was thinking 7 years. I was like, 7 years to make that kind of money? Because I know I'm a college educated. I know what my income would be, and I know how much it would not be increasing. So is 7 years or even 10, is that too long to press into something that we get to choose when we get a raise based on what's happening in our life and how much time do we have to give to our business?
And that, what you just said, is what really hit me in 2009 when I heard Vaughn speak, that, oh, I've only done this 1 year and everything I've studied says it takes 5 to 7 years to make it all the way to the top. So I have 6 more years to invest in this and see what happens. And I'm not backing off. I'm not questioning this until I'm at the end of those 6 more years. Well, by the end of those 6 years, I was making really good money and I had rank that gave me privileges, and I had all, because it kept growing over that time. But I didn't even question that anything was going to back me off for those 6 more years.
Also, for that, I'm going to say you did it every day. So it wasn't like, I know kids who can't go back to certain colleges because they just didn't study hard enough. Right. So they didn't do the work. So, but they were in college. So you can be in Young Living for 6 years, but you didn't do the work. So you're not going to graduate.
Well, the same books that say 5 to 7 years say doing it as a business for that long.
Right. Be honest with yourself. And I've had people take, when I've coached them, I've had them take, like write down for me for a week how many hours you're actually putting into this. Be honest with yourself. And now you have to be honest with me. And I also have them write down what actual business hours are. And it's never really includes social media, because a social media post should take maybe 5 minutes tops. So you have to, if you've been in this for a long time and you're not seeing results, it's not because it doesn't work. It's because you actually haven't been honest with yourself about what working actually is. Does that make sense?
Can I
Is
The
share?
other reason would be because you're not duplicatable. You cannot, it has to be. I heard one time, and I've said this 1,000 times, I've had a lot of people tell me that it's really hard for them to be in a room and find someone smarter. And I immediately realized they're probably the dumbest one in the room, because my goal is to be in the room and be the dumbest one. I want to learn from every single person in the room. So I want to also communicate and share this in a way that is so duplicatable that every time people leave me, they think that was good. That was so good. And I could do it better. They need to be able to walk away thinking that they can be better than me, because if they can't, I'm not going to duplicate myself. As long as I have to be on top, I'm not going anywhere.
If they think they have to if someone thinks they have to compete with us, any of us, to do a class or to run a business, then we've just failed. We're going to be doing it all. If they see, oh, what Dana said, yeah, I can do that. I can do it better than her. Then we are successful. That makes us successful. Linda, you had something?
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I ended up receiving this in the mail that completely shocked me, surprised me. I was crying. I got on the phone, called family, my daughters. So I was just pondering and thinking, okay, so I have this. What am I supposed to do with this? September 1st, I went on a Facebook private group and decided I am going to just 1, 2, 3, do it. Get on and do a daily post on 2 or 3 things I've learned about each oil for the whole month of September. And so I'm on day 4, but I have to say it's been Dana's lives that I have been following that have kept me engaged to say, wow, she's got kids. She stays at home. She works. She has a husband. She has a dog. She's got everything I have. Okay, if she can do this, exactly what Dana's saying about we have to duplicate. Even though the mind was saying, but you can't speak clearly or do this or do that, I literally had to get my valor and say, I'm doing this. I'm not going to overthink it and just go for it. And so 2 people in this week have said, I would like to sign up with you. And then another person said, I want to reactivate because they saw my video. So I'm so elated. I'm just like, it's changing those habits of like, no, yeah, I can do that. You know what? I'm going to try it. If I fail, oh, well, they saw me out there and I'm out there now.
And
So-
if you didn't do an excellent job, then they may think, she did okay, but I could do better than that. Great, you just won. So can you tell everybody how you got that kit? Why you have it?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So I didn't even know I was going to qualify or get this kit. I became an executive, but I had fallen off for a couple of months last year. And because this year that was your rise to rank, the challenge they had, I had no idea. And I had an email saying, we shipped something out. I thought, oh dear, my order got released early. I call Young Living. They said, no, we're sending you a gift. I received the gift and I literally was crying. I've never had this amount of oils in one little case like this. So I'm using what I was gifted in to be able to share with others. And we have to do that with what we have. And so I felt this was a tool. It came at the right, perfect time, and now I'm to use it to share with others.
That is the best story. Congratulations.
Thank you, because I know all of you had something to do with this because we're here. So thank you.
I love that.
That's so good. I want to add one more thing, if that's okay, Teresa. So, for a long time, we talked about empowering our people, like everybody needs to have an EODR and all that kind of stuff. And that's true. But the message with that was back off, keep pointing your people to the resources. And I just want to say, again, you can't copy anybody. I lost a lot of people during that time because my people are used to me. And really, I'm okay with serving them in that way. Because most of my people are professional women, attorneys and stuff like that. So again, figure your identity. Don't yes, let's all be duplicatable. But if you're not, then put somebody that your person can duplicate in front of them and just encourage them to be themselves.
That's all we can do is be who we are. And people will read through it if we're not real.
Yeah. And I like helping people.
But let me tell you, if you're helping people is wonderful, but there are going to be some that are not attorneys, there are going to be some that want to build, and those people have to have autonomy, and they have to have you showing them that they can do this themselves.
Absolutely. And you are such a good example of hands off unless we need you.
That was because Vaughn taught me that day. You have to do it. You have to do it, and then you have to teach other people to do just what you did. And that keeps me from being overwhelmed and having to do everybody's job. Basically, everybody has their own business, their own stuff, and I'm here to support. Anyone else?
Yeah, I wanted to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I've been in business before. In a storefront business, books and mortar store. Well, I owned a day spa, and I learned back then it takes 5 to 7 years, and all at that same time, you are putting everything you make back into that business to build it, to advertise and everything. And this company is so easy. I mean, now you don't even have to buy a kit. You don't have to spend that much. And actually, if you will put your effort forth, it's as easy as can be. I mean, simple, I mean, it's hard time-wise and emotionally, but one of the key things I find is our personal growth, which has a lot to do with the book we're talking about, But if you're not willing to grow, that's your first problem you need to make, take care of and grow through to begin with. I do have a group, and I'm not very high up in Young Living, but I got it so I could let my team members be in there. But anyone that they know or I know that's even slightly interested in oils can be in my group and get educated, and you can't be in everybody, some of the groups unless you're in Young Living. And so I wanted my friends to be able to get more information, whether I could reach out to them physically or not. And every once in a while, I've gotten discouraged because no one will ever comment. Of course, I look at you and all the platinums and how many people you guys have under you and how many of us comment. Y'all have tons of people and they don't comment, but I can go back and see who is looking, and I'll have 30 or 40 people that's looked at almost everything I post. So what they say all the time, they're listening and they're watching. But I'm sorry, I had to put my dog in his kennel because she wanted to get up in my face and play while I'm on here. But I had one lady that contacted me a few weeks ago, and someone at a doctor's office wrote my name and number down and told her she needed to call me. That was like 6 months or more ago, she lost the piece of paper and she come across it and found it on her desk or somewhere, in notes, and called me, and she's supposed to sign up this week. At some point, if you're consistent and you don't quit, things start falling into place, and you have got to just trust that that is going to happen if you only follow the simple rules. Because I went to my son's wedding in the spring, a renewal, 25 years renewal wedding. And in the airport in Dallas, I live in Southeast Texas for the ones that don't know. So in Dallas, this lady started talking to me. And so I started talking to her about our products. Another lady came up and verified everything I said. And she said, "Oh, y'all are talking about my favorite subject." And it was Young Living. And she pulled her bag out, and I said, and she was telling the lady I met, "Don't go to stores and buy essential oils. You buy them from Young Living." I said, "See, I don't even know this lady." And she's confirming everything I was saying to you. Well, the lady I met and was talking to, she's an American, and not in the military, but she lives in Bahrain. And she's a school teacher. She's a contractor on the military base. So anyway, I just signed her up this weekend because she was in America touring all during the summer, visiting friends all over the United States. So I just signed her up. But the key is, of course, the teach, train, rinse, and repeat, but the consistency and the don't quit. I have always gone to so many things over toward y'all's area, Woodland, area over in there. And I was always kind of close to Lori Gaska, and she would always hug me when I left, because I never could get any of my people to go anywhere or do anything. But she would always hug me and just say, "Iva," because I'm older than most people that's in Young Living, because I'm 76. But she would just say, "Iva, do me a favor, just don't quit." And so it was just reinforced all the time. Anyway, that, and I've always heard, we all have lots of excuses. You can make an excuse for anything and everything if you want to, but turn that around and move on, grow, and just do it anyway. So that's what I've got to say.
That's right. I agree with every bit of it. Penny, where are you? Penny, is this helping you? I know you're trying to unmute yourself.
I unmuted. I couldn't get you on my computer, so I've got my iPad going. For some reason, that new code didn't even work. So anyway, yes, it is. And I think my mindset, because I've been in Young Living quite a while and completely ditched. I know my mindset got totally derailed when COVID came along. But anyway, I'm in a new place, and I told Vera, I said, I'm ready to jump back in. And the very next week, a lady I've known who's got some very serious health problems, I've known her for 30 years. She contacted me out of the blue and needed a thieves kit to clean up her house. And so, and she lives not far from me. And we've known them, we've been friends for years and years, but not kind of just lost track. So I just felt like that was confirmation. If you put it out there, it's like.
So how has this helped you? Yes. It has.
Yes.
Good.
And I'm loving the Atomic Habits. I have the book, and I'm also listening to it so I can catch up and everything as I go around the house and do my thing. So
yes, that's what
yeah, it really has. And I it's kind of like, I think I have that same mindset Teresa had, in that it's from that want, you know, so even though we're not living that way now, it comes from that mindset of growing up
Yes,
and always being hand to mouth with
yes.
things.
Yes.
So anyway, it's
So
been really,
change the way you talk. You will be successful and you will make money with this business.
yes.
And you will empower other people to be successful and make money.
And I really like people, and talking to strangers has never been a problem. So
Good,
I'm
good.
trying to get out there. So anyway, I think it's hard for me sometimes to flip a switch and bring the conversation into oils. And it's really hard. I give away information without getting information. So that's what I'm trying to work on right now.
Yeah.
So I'm getting personal information, exchanging phone numbers, et cetera,
Right.
from people that
Good.
I'm meeting, because I talk to lots of people.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Good.
That's the thing I know I need to work on. So I appreciate this group.
Anyone else?
I was just gonna say, the way I look at Young Living, I don't call into my job with Locked and Dunning benefits, so I don't call into Young Living. If I have that I'm gonna work or I have things to do, I can't call in on myself. Then I'm not that kind of person at my 9 to 5 job. I don't want to be that kind of person with Young Living either. And I can't expect to have the benefits that are out there if I don't do the work. So I just challenge everybody that if you feel like if something feels hard or doesn't, like I got to mail some stuff out. I have no freaking desire. I'm having one of those days where I don't even care for myself a whole lot today. You know what I mean? But it's okay to go, all right, get in my right headspace, use my oils. I need to get this done today because I've looked at the rest of my week and I know the time isn't there. So I'm not going to call in on myself because I'm worth showing up for. So I think that mindset has helped me, you know, doing a full-time job plus this and my husband's business and the mom and da. Just don't call in on yourself. Just don't call in. Look at your week and realize what's realistic to do. As Deanna says, well, if you coach with her, she's awesome. Look at what you really work, what's really beneficial, what's really working, right? And then when can you make that work in your schedule? It can be in little 10 or 15-minute increments. It doesn't have to be an 8-hour day. If you could only work in a big hunk of time, that's fine too. But don't call in on yourself. Every one of you are worth it.
Anyone
That's
else?
good, girl.
Mindy, you look like you want to talk.
I was looking for that unmute button. I was going to say, Sarah, actually, you've been really encouraging to me because I have, I guess, a different way of wanting to shift. I've got a full-time job. And so it's like, I can't take the exact same steps as everybody, but hearing from you, yeah, on working a full-time job and then trying to make those steps that I can make. Yeah, that's definitely encouraging. So thank you.
You're welcome. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Just pick 10 minutes and do something. It can happen.
Anyone else? Has this helped
If
you?
you in this situation, go ahead, Linda.
I have the same issue. I work shift work. Sometimes I work 12, sometimes I work 16, but it's just using better time management and talking and listening to Sarah, that helped me to want to set aside the time because my business is very important to me. That's all I have to say.
You two and whoever else is on here, even if you don't have a separate job that you work full time, that's what your upline is for. And if you need someone to, I hate the word accountable, but if you need someone just to be with you and clock in with you, then we'll clock in with you. And if the person directly above you isn't clocking in, and the person directly above them isn't clocking in, and the person or you just don't like them, right? You just don't like them. You just don't like them at all. Then just find somebody that'll clock in with you. I'll clock in with you. I'll clock in with you anytime. Any of y'all, I'll clock in with you and say, okay, we don't have a power hour. We've got a power 10. So we're going to power through. We're going to do 10 minutes worth of work, because 10 minutes, y'all, when I tell y'all I'm worky outy now, I just want you to know I started out doing 2 minutes on the stairs, and now, not going to lie, I do like 3.5 every day. So that's better than not 3.5 though, right? And I'm getting results. I told somebody on the Zoom last time, I wish y'all could see my calves. I'll take pictures later. My calves look awesome. They look a lot more awesome than they did when I wasn't doing my 3.5 minutes. So it's the consistency of the 3.5 minutes on the stairs that makes a difference. It's the consistency of clocking in. And so I'll clock in with you. If you don't like your upline, you call me. I'll clock in with you. If I don't like you though, I won't.
One of the things he teaches in this book, in this chapter actually, is if you're a writer, it's not because you were born a writer, it's because you write. Dana was talking that she has become a reader. She was never a reader, but she started reading books, and so now she's a reader. If we want to be an entrepreneur, we just do the stuff. It's not that we have any kind of special talent. It's not that we are, we were talking about social media earlier. There are very few of us that are influencers on social media. That's not our thing. I'm not even going to waste my time trying to go there. But if I want to be successful in this, then I do the work. If I want to be a writer, I write, which I'm not, but.
I was the girl who said I couldn't read books, mostly because I didn't want to read books. That was the truth. I just didn't want to read books. And so I was the girl that said I just had too many littles around. That's why I couldn't read books. I didn't read books, y'all, until I was like 32 years old. I'm 41 now. So how long I've been reading. If you're mathy, you can do that. So, and I wasn't an entrepreneur. And then look at me now, right? And so I'm both a reader and an entrepreneur, and I'm worky outy.
Anyone else? Tell us how this is helping you. Tell us what you need. Tell us your wins, your fears, whatever. We have 10 more minutes on here.
This will be the last thing. I promise this will be the last thing I say, but nothing gives me more joy than looking on here and seeing that y'all, I am one of the youngest ones on here. Like, this is not a young crowd. It's not everyone. This is for everyone. So we're the old timers, y'all. This is not a young crowd. This is for anyone. And I think that is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I just keep looking at all of us thinking, look at this gorgeous crew who we've already stood the test of time.
Karen, you were going to say something?
Yes. You kind of hit it with your little speech about you give oils away. And I think that I have give so much. And then they either sign up with somebody else that they know, or they don't sign up at all.
Yep.
And I'm like known as the oil lady in this community, but I don't have anything to really show for it.
That's who I was. Yes.
Yeah. And this COVID has just made it worse. And I'm like, look, we just need to get you these products. This is what will help you. But like I said, they just go to somebody else. So I don't understand. It's very frustrating. But I mean, I've got this book, and I'm going to change some habits. I'm going to do what you said. Stop.
When I made that decision to stop, I actually emailed a lot of the people I could remember that I had given oils to and sold oils to. And I told them, I know that this is what we've done in the past, but I've chosen to do Young Living as actually a business for my family. And so I won't be selling oils to anyone anymore or giving oils to anyone. I will actually be showing you how to get them yourself delivered to your own house. And that way I don't have to deal with your money, and you don't have to figure out, I mean, I worded it where it was going to be advantageous to them, but they knew I was not going to do this anymore. And that's when people started signing up with Young Living and working it. When I
did the same thing, but then I had to shift also to tell them, ask them, please don't go sign up with someone else.
Yes,
This
You
is,
just
I'm,
ask?
oh, absolutely.
it's a referral business. You can
Absolutely.
tell them.
Okay.
Please sign up
Referral.
with me. Like this is a referral business. Please use my referral. Please think of me when you decide to do this. Please use my referral number. I absolutely ask them.
Good deal.
I think, Karen, you're at a really good spot now too, as you're making this shift in your mindset and how you're approaching the business. Maybe they just need a bottle of Thieves and RC right now, right? That is not as overwhelming as spending $165 or $135. So if you have people that you spoke to before and their mental block of the price of the kit was keeping them from jumping on board, now you can approach them, listen really closely to what their needs are. People will talk and tell you everything they need if you just listen. And then you're going to be able to go, you know what? My friend Sarah talked about her earache and how she keeps Melrose by her bed because her ear always hurts. That's where her allergies start. You could get that for XYZ, da 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 da. You know, listen to what they're talking about. You know, oh, my wrist hurts, or oh, my knee hurts, or my kid won't sleep. And then you can say, here's my link. Let me help you, or however you handle that. But you don't have to try. You're still selling the kids the best thing ever, right? But you can get people in the door a lot
People
cheaper.
want Thieves. The Thieves kit is the cheapest way they can get it. If people
Right.
want Ningxia, the Ningxia kit's the cheapest way. I mean, and I tell people, I want to save money and I want to save you money. And so if this is where you want to start, then this is the cheapest way to do it. It just depends on where they want to start.
Well, and I tell people too, I will find the best bang for your buck, right? I get it. I appreciate and respect the fact that you want to shop with me. I will help you figure out, let's look at what your needs are and figure out the best way to bundle that together. And if you're just showing that kindness and concern for them, like Nicole said, can go a long way. But I think you're at a good spot from the business perspective in making that shift compared to how it was a year or two ago, or all these years ago, all of the years in the past. So,
Well, I am very grateful for this group and the concern that y'all seem to have about, the business, because I do want to continue, and I'm not at a quitting place. I'm at a shifting place. So I appreciate, and I love Dana's little pieces on there, Facebook. I love that. So keep them coming.
So Dana and Sarah, y'all have been training. A lot of people didn't even realize it.
I
We
just
have-
always feel like if I need to raise my hand in the class, I'm not the only one who needs to raise their hand. Like we all are thinking the same things, asking the same question, feeling equally alone or scattered. Like yeah.
so I did something we talked about last week. You were going to go to Master Gardeners, and I went and presented at a PEO women's fraternity or women's sorority group. And I don't get nervous very often talking about Young Living, but I was anxious because I was talking. So my stepmom's the president of the group, and she said, well, she's one of the youngest and she's 74. And they want to know about hormones. So I'm like, okay, I got this. I can do this. I have Dr. Como's book. I can do anything because I have the book. And so I worked and I typed up a little thing because what I ended up doing, and I believe they truly appreciate it by their comments. I talked about what the endocrine system was and then how most of our world is full of endocrine disruptors. And Dr. Como has this amazing book, and this tells us ways we can help not live the standard typical menopausal, postmenopausal life. But I was nervous. I forgot Dr. Como's book. I probably stuttered or stamped, over my words a little like I did just there. Nobody held that against me. I emailed my stepmom the link to the book, through Growing Healthy Homes and Amazon. So they had two options, push the Growing Healthy Homes because it was cheaper. And people have reached out to me and reached out to her and are thankful and want to follow up. And it was a whole new group of people. And that was fun and exciting. And it was good to get back in front of people again. But I was scared, and that's okay. I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find you make the commitment to do something, then you got to do it. You can't back out. You look like a fool if you do.
3, 2, 1, go. Just do it.
Our church sermon was on faithfulness today, and faithfulness means one of the reasons can be people believe that they have faith. They're going to show up if you say you are. You don't want to be the person that says they're going to do something and then they don't. I don't think any of us want to be that person. So get some things on the calendar. That makes a huge difference too.
Been asked to join our PTO. I am not a PTO mom, but I'm joining it because I need a new pond.
Well, Andrea and I also need a new pond. We did the garden club, and I told my husband they can find their oil someplace else. I'm not messing with any of them. That was the worst meeting. I mean, Robert's Rule of Orders for 14, 15 women that are older than me, and you can't speak, you can't talk because we haven't seconded this motion, and the gavel will be beat. And Andrea and I were just going, what are we doing? So we're looking for a new pond.
Teresa's talked me into many good things over the years. Many good things. Young Living, biomats, and I just glanced over it a couple times. I'm like, they really need oils, but I don't think they're be open-minded to oils. Yeah, they were like, we didn't need to dip their bodies in them completely. Yeah,
it was our old women.
Yeah, Teresa finally looked at her watch and she goes, "It's time for us to go," and we jumped up and we left.
So I'm glad it worked for you, Sarah.
Yeah,
we're gonna look for a new pond too. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've joined 3 different groups in the last month. And one of those groups, I'm having the same experience. It's a political group. And I left the meeting 2 weeks ago and went, what have I done? But
Yep.
I'm sticking in there because they really need the oils.
We're not. I'm glad you are. We're not. I'm not going back.
Well, I have a really good friend that's in leadership there, and she needs the oils to coat with them, and they all need the oils, but I'm not giving up yet. But it's been eye-opening, so I get where you're at.
Okay,
So
our time is up.
I'm expanding my pond.
That's right. That's what we're doing. All of us are doing that. Our time is up. Next Sunday, we'll have Unplugged at 7:00. It will be 9/11, and we're going to talk that night about trauma because it is 9/11. But at 4:00, I'm still going to get on here for you girls. So anybody going to join me at 4 and then again at 7? I'm in this. I mean, I have Jamie that does all of the stuff on, thank you. She does all the stuff on Green Diamonds and all of my project broadcasts, but I still do the hands-on work. That's not something I can hand over to anybody. So I'm looking for new ponds, and I'm doing this because I want to see you successful. I want to empower women to have success. So this is my passion. So let's just get together again next Sunday. Bye.
Thank you.